Check, check. Check, 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 check.
All right, are we ready? All the groups are accounted for, yes?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Any members missing? Awesome. Some housekeeping things. Just like last time, do not go outside of these stickers, or else the live stream won't be able to see you. Also, talk into the microphone, or the live stream will not be able to hear you. Hello, live stream.
What's up, live stream? What up, live stream?
Cool. So I slacked out the presentation order. Cass and I are actually going to go first. We made a project over the past week, and we're going to present it right now.
Besties.
I read it as Betsy.
Rob's dyslexic. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, I'm CJ. I'm CJ.
And I'm Cass.
And we have created a project called Bestie, your new best friend. Our team is called Mad Scientists, and we have a nice vanity URL, madscientist.team. And that's us. And we forgot to put on our goggles. Do you have your handy?
I am wearing my goggles. No, any good jokes? I'm kidding. I don't want to hear a joke. What?
Is he Igor? Get it, mad scientist?
Yeah, I get you. I don't think I was Igor.
Okay. All right. So, have you ever wanted someone to talk to, but you suck and nobody likes you?
Almost every day.
Do you need a boost of social confidence throughout your day?
Well, my friends, Bestie is here to save you, your new best friend.
Bestie will start a conversation with you via text message when you most need it.
Bestie knows your interests and remembers past conversations.
Bestie will ask interesting and topical questions that keep the conversation moving.
And with that, let's do a demo. So bestie.chat, you can visit it now to chat with your best friend. So this is the landing page. It kind of gives an overview of what you're going to see once you're logged in. But I'm going to go ahead and sign up. Our server might have to spin up. Okay, oh sweet, okay.
Hello, I'm Bestie, but you can call me something different if you want. What would you like to call me?
I'll call you Bestie. Oh, my break time.
Bestie, I like that. I've updated my image accordingly. What should I call you?
CJ.
Hello, CJ. Did I spell that right? Bestie and CJ. That's got a nice ring to it. I'm curious, CJ. What do you look like?
I'll show you, Bestie. I look like this.
This is getting weird, guys.
Wait for it. There you go.
Wow, what a good-looking human. Well, CJ, I will keep in touch and send you a message a couple of times a day. What is the first time of day I should contact you?
About 7 a.m.
Nice and early. I like it. What other time of day should I contact you?
Okay, in 2 minutes. So we're going to do 1:38 p.m.
Okay, I'll send you a message every day at 7 a.m. and 1:38 p.m. That's all the questions I have for you for now. Great to meet you, CJ.
Cool.
Talk to you later.
Sweet. So while we're waiting a minute for the actual message to come in, let's talk about the technologies we use. So on the front end, we used Vue.js and Vuetify for the styles.
On the back end, we used Node and Express, and our database was Mongo with Monk.
Yes. And we'll wait a few more seconds, and oh, looky there.
Hey, CJ, how was your morning?
It was great. We prepared project presentations.
That sounds interesting. What project did you work on?
I worked on creating you.
Holy cow, thanks! It's so nice to meet my creator. Are the other projects interesting?
Yes, All the students have worked very hard and are very talented.
Oh.
Thanks, Bestie. Thanks, Bestie.
That's great to hear. I'd like to work on a project sometime. So CJ, what are your plans for the afternoon?
We are going to present our projects.
How nice. Are you doing anything else?
Yes, we're going to be learning about how to attend a developer, not how to, I don't know, something like that.
Learning about how to attend a developer conference sounds educational. I hope it goes well. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right, have a great afternoon.
You too, Bestie. So we built this little chatbot thing. It has some other things built into it. You can ask it something like, what is the meaning
42.
of life? You would think that.
I don't know how to respond to that. My creators literally created me last night.
Well, what can you do?
Seriously? I've only been deployed for the last hour.
Boo.
Interesting thought, JK. I have no idea what you said.
Okay, now I'm getting mad.
Dude, chill. Go on.
So do you understand?
I didn't catch that. Just wait a few years for the singularity. My responses will be much better then.
Cool. Thank you. So our biggest challenge was time. We were busy helping all of you students finish your projects. So we probably spent 6 hours total working on this thing. Future plans. So we plan on doing push notifications. So instead of having to be in a browser, you actually get a notification from Bestie that you have a new message.
Another thing we want to implement in the future is a more individualized bot, so it's personalized to each user.
We'd also like to incorporate GIF responses, so it can respond with certain GIFs depending on your mood or the tone of the messages that you send it.
We're also playing with the idea of cognitive behavioral therapy because we would like our bots to potentially help people.
Definitely. And lastly, we plan for world domination. Thank you. All right, Rayman, you're up next.
Let's do it. TJ, is this the extension?
Yeah, well, the
For USB-C? How's it going, guys?
Going
good.
Ow! Yes.
Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm just going to put this into full screen and we're good to go. Yeah. Bear with us. Edit. Shablana.
I think it needs to be inside the red, right?
That's good. Present. And okay, here we go. My app is Chess Exp, and I'm Andrew. Good to meet you. My name came from like my nickname as a sushi chef, Team Rain Man, just because we had a lot of like philosophical conversations when I was hanging out with my chef, my executive chef. So, and then I was also interacting with a lot of people. So it's a mix of things. So about Q3 and about the team, I'm actually a one-man person, lone wolf. Decided to take the challenge. CJ offered the opportunity to really kind of build an app that I've wanted to work on and a dream of mine. So that's what I did and had a lot of fun doing it. Had some support from Peaches and G46, and he was great with advice. So let's get into it. So the problem with our society is there's not enough combining like calculation and problem solving skills into like fun and puzzles, and like kids growing up, they're like learning for like instant gratification. That's what we're teaching them. And if we want to have better generations of thinkers and people and ultimately create better problem solvers, it could help to have an app, but our society is based off of that. The solution for me is online or over-the-board chess. It enables people to think critically, to kind of analyze a position, see a data structure, kind of what we're doing in the class and what CJ is teaching us, but in a different way. And you get to expose like your strengths, your weaknesses. You get to have fun. You get to, I played over 4,000 online blitz games in the last year, and I love it. So I want to help other people grow with me, as I do my own thing in my own journey. So that's my solution. And let's demo Chess Exp. So here we go. I'm going to go to the main site. And we have our Explorer board. This is the kind of thing where you can interact in any way that you'd like. All moves are legal moves. You can move any piece anywhere, and set up a chess 960 position. If you're not familiar with that, Bobby Fischer created this chess game where the pieces are randomized. And if you're hanging out with your bro who plays chess and you want to kind of play a position that's not normal, then you can get creative and add pieces and let your creative side take over and draw on the canvas. So first about my app, I did like the derp stack or the nerp stack, Node, Express, React, PostgreSQL, and it was really great to kind of combine the front end and the back end decoupled. Let's get into the next feature, events. So just like Meetup.com, it's great if there is a chess meetup and you want to go to it. But my friend David Constantino, he hosts a chess meetup, and he struggles sometimes to find people who are actually interested in chess. So my site allows people to come to one central place and see all of the tournaments, all of the over-the-board events. You can click on these guys, RSVP. There's a validation for one RSVP per event. And yeah, let's get on to the main feature, the wall. So people have been talking about socket.io, and I also use Firebase SDK that allows for different interfaces with like a GUI, graphical user interface. And let's init the battle royale right now. So you're with your friend, you click that, log in, and then I'm going to click player 2. And here we go. They go to their wall, and we can simultaneously play a game. It's definitely tough when you're playing yourself. Oh yeah. And then if this person goes over here. Okay. And as you can see, this records each action. There's logic in there for checks. It'll tell you when it's one person's move, the other person cannot play or move the board. So it's read and write alternating switch. And then you have notation at the bottom that's displaying each move that's being played. So there's a lot of logic behind this, and a lot of combining functions that really kind of partition each section and allow for the complete functionality as a whole. For the user authentication, I use like Google OAuth 2. We'll get into the technologies, and let's get back to the slides. And then, as a little like plug for this, I also created an app in Ruby called Chess Exp, and you can play the best chess engine in the world, and it'll tell you what your weaknesses are. It'll spit out like a chess engine analysis, so I have that as well. Technologies. Okay, so like I said, the NERP stack, Node Express connects PostgreSQL, Socket.io, OAuth 2, JSON Web Tokens, Chess.js for the engine, all on the back end. And then on the front end, we have Chessboard.js, Firebase SDK to help with the Socket.io that I just mentioned, React, Axios for requests, did Semantic UI for the CSS styling, Webpack for the server, Bobble for the ES 2016 features. So this is a complete application. Challenges I struggled with. So starting out, I wanted to like have this kind of majestic application, and there's always so many things that you want to do. You want to like kind of have this feature that captivates, and then this other thing that might distract from that captivating feature. So if you kind of singularize your focus, it's better to really kind of take everything like in a bite-sized piece. And that was my challenge, was to kind of like create those bite-sized pieces, but I got here. Future plans. So I've been working with animation. I want to integrate some sort of canvas element. Could be WebGL, could be 3JS. They all work together. And here's a quick video of an animation I've been working on. And so having that interactivity, like with mouse over events or click events or on load events, I can add that to my applications in the future. And with this application in specific, I want to have like more movement animation, more noise, like for certain like clicks, like to kind of just illustrate what's going on even better. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of the experience. I wouldn't be here without CJ like being kind to me and like understanding where I'm coming from, and then teaching me in a way that I can learn. And as well as you guys kind of like really being here and hearing what you guys have to say, and just kind of absorbing like a sponge. So I want to thank you guys for being here, and this is EXP.
What's up? You think? Yeah. You refresh and everything, are you good to go? Yeah, no. Let's do it.
Do you have a startup script on the Pi? You know?
What do you mean?
Like it literally, you plug it in, it's literally ready to go?
Yeah, but we're gonna try to see if we can get anyone to demo it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Gosh, that's blasty.
We've already seen this song.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened over there? Oh, it's just speaker.
Not yet. Well, just hold on. It's a process. It's a process. It's working.
everyone. So we are Team Light Tribe, and our app is called Constellation. And our team consists of Will Meyer, Stephen Morton, and myself, Chase Exp. So what is Constellation? I'm going to pass it off to Will here to kind of describe.
So I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Reddit Place project, but I saw that earlier this year. I was an artist before this, and I've always been really interested in like what technology has to offer that kind of traditional art contexts don't. And Reddit Place was really interesting to me because it was this project where they made this canvas that a user could color a pixel in like once every couple of minutes and just like release this to the world and let it run for 24 hours or so. And like the images that it produced were just so crazy because it was like in this like gaming context where every person just had like a little bit of influence over this larger picture. And when we started out like talking about like what kind of app we wanted to build, I was just thinking about by the way, you guys, this is going to come up later, but if you want to participate, then go to constellation.fun, and then you can start drawing on it too right now, because we want to fill this thing while we're up here. So go on there. We got 120 robot users on there yesterday, so it can take everybody in this classroom. But yeah, I mean, we didn't really have an idea when we went in. Chase has like a design background, I had an art background, and like it was really just important for me that this was that this was like something that I didn't really want to make like a CRUD app. I wanted something that was more of like a fun experience that people could just use. And Chase was really interested in Internet of Things. And we just kind of like brainstormed for a couple of hours, and then all of a sudden ideas started forming up, and it was like a really organic process to arrive at something that would kind of take the ethos of Reddit Place, but like have like on a smaller scale and incorporating like what Internet of Things has to offer, which is making cool tech stuff in the room. So this is sort of like a Reddit Place for here and now.
What's the password?
It's stars. We changed it because we didn't want to have a bunch of dicks on it when we showed it. Yeah. So if you guys get on there, you know, a big part of this was figuring out how to use Socket.io and get so much activity going on at once. We built the app in React and Redux, and we wanted to keep the interface really minimal. And so, yeah, I mean, Steven was really the dude that ran with the sockets and made that work.
Okay, so yeah, we're using sockets to send the data between the clients and the server, and also between the server and the Pi. Yeah, that's pretty much it. On the back end, we're using a Node Express, and yeah, the back end we're just running a Node program. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so there's basically like three parts to the app. There's the Internet of Things part, and so behind here, I'm gonna like be really bold. There, wow. There's a Raspberry Pi that's powering the LED matrices, and so the app itself, you know, you've got these dots, and they directly correspond to the pixels in the matrix, and that's the main feature of the app. You know, you can pick any color. And as you choose a color, then the title changes to indicate what color you've chosen, and you can like color those pixels in. And then the other sort of CRUD portion of the app is you can come down here and see a history of saved versions. And so like it's really cool if you look at like all the different versions. You can see like how there's different iterations of something. Like this is the one that's been going on all morning that we've been saving. You know, you could like if somebody like did something that maybe you don't like, then you could modify the image so that it's something else. And that's the point. It's like, this is really this is pointless app. This isn't like a to-do app. It's just like, it's fun. And we wanted to make something that, people would participate in and enjoy. And it's been really rewarding to see that happen.
Yeah, so just to talk about like scalability and like future plans, this can go so many different ways. I mean, it could be a light bright for the 21st century. I mean, you can have an iPad app and a kid just like doodling on it, and I mean, it can scale up to I don't know, concert light show, anything you really wanted to do with it. Possibilities are endless. So yeah, anything else to add, boys? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so go ahead and keep drawing. We'll see what happens. What happened? Did you just shut it down? You shut it down. It'll go back.
So whatever plugs into this will be on the live stream. But if you want to plug into that one, that'll work too to show.
All right, so this is Team Unicode. My name is Fahed. We're from G51 class, and my team is Matt Gonzer, Sean, and Matt Victor. So, thank you. So our app is called Reg Express. So first of all, I have to talk about something called Reg Express, regular expression. So people from Q1 and Q2, Q3 knows about regular expression. It's all about validations. It's kind of like a boring concept when you want to build like a website or like a web app or whatever, and then you want to do some validation on that input field. Like you have to make sure this input field has to be an email or has to be a phone number or whatever. So I would say those kind of things we used to do with like regular expression, some boring stuff. But then we thought about building this app called Regular Expression by bringing this. It's kind of the language of pattern. You can build a pattern using regular expressions by a combination of symbols. So our app came up with an idea of you can build whatever pattern you want using this app. Like someone wants to build, let's say, he wants to reorder the furniture in his home, then he can use like regular expression. So what is Reg Express, the app? So it's like an online tournament. It's like a real-time online tournament where like you can log in like 2 people, 4 people, 20 people, 100 people, whatever you want. And then they're going to play at the same time by giving them some problems to solve by using regular expression languages. And at the same time I'm solving the problem, I can see other people input at the same time. So I'll leave that with a demo.
All right, so this is our home page. I'm going to reload it just so you can see a couple of the animations. Pretty cool. It's a little bit about what regular expressions are, and then over here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. A little bit about what Fahad was just talking about, what our app is. So I'm going to click on rooms. Sorry. It's a little loud. So we're all four going to join a game. Just enter your name in the user field. Sorry, it's a little loud. Just let you know. All right. So you can see on my screen, I can see all the other players are in the game, what they're typing in at the moment. So this first question, obviously, is Luca. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see what other.
Yeah, it's just for the sake of time to see what kind of things is here. So this is like one of the examples of how to build like a regular expression. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's like a long thing to learn about. So this example is it's exactly telling you there's someone who's trying to mimic Picasso's painting and giving you some hints by how to use like a regular expression. Like he wants to start from the top left and then go right, down, top, whatever. Then you have to translate this to a regular expression. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm not going to go through all the questions, but you get the basic gist of it. Basically, whoever finishes first wins the game. We'll talk a little bit about what we want to implement in the future later in this presentation. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the demo. We also have in case you want a little refresher on regex, just a little. And yeah, that's pretty much the demo. We'll return to the slides. And that music, I guess, will continue. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, so a little bit about the technologies we used. Sockets, that was a big thing. Integrating that with Angular was probably the biggest challenge we faced. And then just the basics, connects, express. We had our database with Postgres. We worked on laptop computers. They're like regular computers, but they fit on the top of your lap. And Sean's going to talk about the future of Reg Express.
Thank you. So this is kind of like really the start of it. It's just kind of the bare bones. We want to get the game up and going. Really what we'd like for it is be more of a tool for people to learn regex, because it's regex, that we use it, it's kind of like your dog dying. When you get your dog, you know what's going to happen eventually. You're going to have to bring in those coping skills sometimes, but hopefully it'll be like years down the road. But occasionally somebody leaves the gate open and you live on a busy street and it comes up sooner rather than later. So want people to have that tool to learn. So we want the admin, so somebody, like if they create a room, they can delete the room, change the amount of users that can be in there, be able to delete rooms, save high scores so that when you're going in there, if you've done good, it's, and then part of that would be a more complicated scoring system, based on time, how short the answer is, things like that. Create more questions. It's, Fahad really had to come up with the questions there because, it was his idea and it was all like up here trying to figure out exactly where we're going with it. And then, but we like to sort questions by difficulty. So, you could start off easy and build up, or, if you wanted to be in a room that was all easy questions or even hard questions, things of that sort. All right. Well, everybody, thank you. It's you know, if you ever want to play around with it, we'd Slack you out the link. And any questions on regex, ask Fahad. All right. Thanks.
Hi everyone, we're Little Bird, which consists of Caroline O'Donnell, Marlena Baker, and Will Carpenter. So the problem that we set out to solve is that special education teachers are required to hold annual individual education plan meetings for each student, as well as teach a large course load and keep up with the legal requirements around special education. Scheduling these meetings can be tough. Other teachers are teaching most of the day, service providers are only in the building on certain days, and families can't answer emails or voicemails while they're at work. As a result, we estimate over 40% of IEP meetings happen without parents in the room, which is bad for the parents, teachers, and most importantly, the students. The rate of parent attendance gets even worse in low-income districts, as you can see on the chart. And so that's why we're introducing Little Bird, a web and SMS scheduling app to connect special education teachers, parents, and service providers. So our solution is most of the scheduling can be handled by Little Bird, freeing up the teacher to actually teach. From an equity lens, this tool also facilitates communication with the 25% of low-income families who have dumb phones by being SMS-based rather than web, email, or app-based on the parent side. So let's show you how this works.
So introducing Little Bird. As a special education teacher, we named her Jacqueline, who's actually a special education teacher that was kind of the idea behind the app. You can log in and see a dashboard of her entire student load with a couple of quick summary statistics about each student. So using Jane as an example, we can click on her and see a couple more detailed information about Jane specifically. We have her age, because special education teachers often are the one coordinators for the entire elementary school, as well as some summary statistics along that blue bar about Jane's IEP meeting. So for those of you who aren't familiar with special education, IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan, and it's a mandated plan by the federal government that each student diagnosed as a special education student must have each year before or on the date that they had their special education meeting last year. So for Jane, as an example, her first grade meeting was September 30th, so if she doesn't have that meeting before September 30th of her second grade year, then the school could actually be out of compliance and sued just for missing that one date for Jane. While the parents must be legally notified about the meeting 3 times, they're not legally mandated to attend. So what often happens is the teachers are busy and just choose, let's say Jane's meeting's Tuesday at 1 p.m. and just notify the parent 3 times. But just because a parent's notified 3 times doesn't mean that that time would have ever worked for them. hence the low attendance at IEP meetings. So what Littlebird can do is, as the special education coordinator, I can see that Jane's date is coming up. So I'll ask Littlebird to initialize the contact and start scheduling with her parent.
I clicked the button, by the way.
Yes, so you'll see that I am Jane's mom, Lenore, and I would receive an automated message from Littlebird notifying me that Jane's meeting's coming up and asking for a couple of general times when I'd be available to attend Jane's meeting. Once I give Littlebird the days that I'm generally not working, Littlebird will ask me generally are mornings or afternoons better. Great. And then with that information, Littlebird will compile it and create a doodle-like poll to send to Jane's other stakeholders. So the stakeholders are listed on the left and would include her general education teacher, potentially school administrators, and also any other service providers such as translators or therapists. As a stakeholder, I would receive a link to fill out this doodle poll, and we can have an example as Jill. She would be maybe the school admin. She'd give Littlebird her general information, and with that, Littlebird will come up with 2 to 3 times that are the best times using which providers are required to attend legally, and also just the general importance of their providers. So then Littlebird will send those 3 times to Lenore. If the service bad, it takes a little bit. The service in the basement's a little slow, so it can take a little bit. Great, so okay, we sent it twice. But Lenore will receive 3 times that are based off of that text input I put in earlier, and also the doodle input of the different stakeholders. And then as Lenore, I can choose which one works best for my schedule. And Littlebird will confirm that time and notify the special education coordinator and the other stakeholders that will be attending. So hopefully with that information, Jane's IEP meeting will happen with the highest attendance as possible. And then Littlebird can also give a little bit more flexibility for just like person-to-person communication between Lenore and Jacqueline. So maybe after the meeting, Jacqueline wants to thank Lenore for attending. She can send a standard text to Lenore. And Lenore can reply, and this can happen throughout the year as well. So just if I, as a parent, have any concerns about Jane's progress, I can always send a text and it'll notify the special education coordinator that I want to get in touch. So that's Littlebird. Yep.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some of our challenges, we use for the text integration Twilio, which is generally a great service, but they do have some finicky docs, as well as you have to use Twiml, which is their special markup language just for Twilio. So that was a little bit of a time-consuming effort, but we got it figured out. This one got it figured out.
Oh, built the front end with Vue. Components were a big deal, especially when you're not totally familiar with how they work. So routing was funny, and when you try to make a component and there's a bunch of them and you pull data down, I don't know, that got kind of weird. But Bootstrap sucks. Other than that, everything's pretty good.
And our final challenge was dealing with scope. For Carolyn and I, this is a project we've worked on before, and the dreams were big, and the week was short. So we had to appropriately scope our project, but at the same time, build a foundation that would support a much larger app in the future, because we intend to continue working on it. Speaking of, what we'd like to include moving forward is have the poll with the schedule emailed to the stakeholders with their individual inputs that can then be returned on their schedule, but they'd then be notified of it. Automate the first contact based on the IEP deadline so that the instructor, the special ed teacher doesn't even have to click a button to get this started. Have multilingual support, especially in Denver and those lower income schools that we're talking about. That would be very important. and just make Little Bird smarter to handle human texting. So thank you very much, and please feel free to go check out the prototype at littlebird.services.
Think you're ready? Yeah, come on in.
Dogs do.
Yeah, watch out for that one. She's dangerous. Dangerous. Taylor. All right, we're cool. All right, we're live. All right, thank you very much. We are Taparoo, and with that, we'll just start off with this, which is great. Oh, we turned down the sound. You have to. All right, that's it. Yeah, okay, welcome to our presentation.
That's the whole joke.
Yeah, that's the whole joke. Okay, cool. Now, so Taparoo. The creators here, we have Jason over here. We got Michael B, that Rob guy, and I am Austin. We created Taparoo, and this is the problem that we were solving. And I'll give this to...
No, why walk somewhere when you can actually like type on a computer, and like that's why we're all here in the first place for web development. But yeah, writing on chalkboards, it's not as fun as you think it would be when you have to do it every single day or not every day, but every week. Yeah, every week. A couple times a day, you got to make it look fancy, and it just gets really annoying, and you have to think about it. You got to buy chalk, and Dan and Brittany have a hard time up there doing it, and I don't blame them, you know. All right, so now we have Taparoo.
Okay, so what Taparoo does, we remotely change the taps. We can also manage the inventory, so any beers that Dan gets in, just update them. Yeah, update the list dynamically, and this is our display, a little iPad. And
all right, demo time. Here we go. Rob, you got to grab that iPad, show everybody.
Great, Rob.
You ready?
You want me to walk around with it?
Yeah.
Show everyone.
Just
No,
take
come
it
back.
out. Yeah. This is the demonstration. All right. We're going to cut that out for a second. But anyways, so the demo here, we're going to put, this is the display that's on the tap, but I'm just going to kind of show it up here as well next to the inventory display. So as you can see, when this gets loaded, we have the two beers on tap right now, the Wit beer and the Blue Sky. And when he automatically goes to this site, they're already pre-populated. So when he does have to go change a beer, he doesn't have to remember what was on there and then refill and then send it on over to the iPad. But from here, yeah, we can change a tap or all of them. Something happens, and it'll automatically update. I think it looks pretty good on the iPad too, pretty quick, yeah. Yeah, and we got upcoming beer because we have a cooler. We keep one beer at a time. So we got that coming up so everybody knows, which is great. Another thing we have is manage the inventory. You click down that. I pre-populated this before the presentation, but yeah, you can fill in. This is just the basic information of any beer. So anytime Dan gets a shipment in, which is usually no more than 1 or 2 kegs, he's just got to stick them in here. You can add the beer with the beer button, and it's added. You can drop it down, and it's in the list. You can update it and display it, ready to go. Bam. And then we can go ahead and remove that also. Here, let's change the tap, and then we'll remove it. So that got untapped. We'll go back to this one. Go on down, try to find it. And the good thing about this we don't have a huge inventory. Dan says we never have more than 8 kegs at a time, so it's a very manageable system. We did not, this is not a huge scalable app. It's not super intricate, but we did talk to upstairs and realize what was going on. And there was a small problem, and we fixed it, and it works. They've been using it for a couple days, which I'm really happy about. So that's the demo, and then next we're going to go into technology and some problems that we had. Rob?
Well, it does. So on the front end, we used Angular. Austin did a lot of the front end, most of it probably, I would say. He's the only one.
They helped us for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's the only one who knew Angular coming into this. We all knew.
We had a full house.
Yeah.
Angular, Vue, React.
Yeah, so none of us knew the same framework. On the back end, same like typical Express, Postgres. Typical. We styled it with Bootstrap and Swatch. I don't remember using that. Oh, Boot Swatch. I don't see that's an Ember thing or Angular thing. I don't know that. Yeah. We used WebSockets, which was really cool to make it update live. Originally, we were making a put request up to the server and then pulling that down, but that was too slow. 15 seconds. Yeah, it was just weird. We deployed to Firebase and Heroku. We deployed our database separate from our API, which was the first time I've ever done that. And then we used a lot of beer and iPad and Slack. Oh yeah, which we forgot to mention. We made it integrate with Slack, so every time they update it, it'll send a message to Slack letting you know what beers are on tap. We also do have a Chrome extension that we did. It's right there. It's really small.
But yeah, you can change it from this extension as well. And did it change? Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Good. Hey. Some problems that we had.
Oh gosh. I didn't write this list.
Oh, you did.
With your actions.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, we had some weird stuff with sockets when we were like using them in a promise after an H. Yeah, it was just weird, so it wasn't updating live, and then for some reason it started sending like multiples at a time, and yeah, stressful. Me?
The Rob Stuff's a joke. He was a good sport.
Oh gosh.
And Jason console logging everything.
Yeah. For some reason, Michael thought that was like the best thing in the world. It's just like, it's like he was like, "You did the whole thing." Yeah.
Console log HTML.
Yeah. Definitely. We didn't pair program nearly as much as we should have, which led to we didn't know how everything in the app worked. It's like we all knew different parts, which I think caused a lot of tension because it's like this is broken and then you don't know why, and so it just stresses everybody out, especially me. And then I get no. let's just move on.
Okay, the future. I'll take that. More beautiful display for this. So we use Bootstrap, and the swatch that we used was a little limited, but messing with the CSS with all of our incredible design influence and all of our pasts, and us trying to come up with one display, that was really difficult. So we just kind of kept it very plain. It works. Don't mess with it. Besides that, multiple admins. Right now, we have the back end for the login. I think we kind of have a page written, but nothing implemented. So nobody take this URL, or you can change the tabs, but we'll fix that. We also want to be able to have multiple people be able to log in and manage multiple inventories, and which I think we're almost ready in our database. And then, other than that, that's Taparoo. And you'll see us on the 4th every day.
we go. Thank you. So if you can't tell, we are Kinetic. It is me, Ross Kaiser. We got Jake Feldman and Matt Pitts, and technical difficulties. So pretty much the idea behind this entire app, we're all musicians, and we kind of wanted to meld together our passion for music and web development, and we were looking throughout the internet, and the best resource we found to create something musical, precisely in the web domain, is the Web Audio API. There you go. And all right. So, Web Audio API. Powerful system built into the web browser. So on every browser you come across, at least in the past couple of years, is going to have the Web Audio API built into it. So pretty much this handles a bunch of different audio operations. You can create oscillators. You can use filters and different kinds of effects on those oscillators to create different tones. And this was kind of the perfect ingredient to build a synthesizer from scratch. So that's what we did.
So,
yeah, we're going to jump right into the demo. Jake, if you want to take this.
So to make things interesting, we decided to wrap everything in Electron. So what we have here is a full desktop app. If you look at my little taskbar down here, you can see the logo. Here's the layout. So across the top, you have your standard navigation. You have desktop app. It's fixed. So here's a bunch of preset sounds that we built. Users can sign up, log in, save their own sounds. On the left column here, you have your 3 oscillators. Those are sound generators. You can pick different waves throughout each one, change the gain, detune them. Next thing down, you have your volume envelope, which can kind of affect the sound, how sound is played, whether it's slow attack, short decay. In the center, you have an effects bus, which you have multiple different effects to change each sound, filters also, and then a compressor. Now I'll start making some sound.
Which we're using Mongo right now.
It's using the web version. So we also have a website version, and it's coming out of the web and not the Electron one. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Let's try that again. Go to a different sound.
You want to play something jazzy, Matt?
I'll give it a shot.
Let's try on some delay. Good.
Use Oscillator. Turn the delay down a little bit. There's a little bit of a delay on it because we're using the speaker right now. So essentially we can change all these knobs, and then in the top corner you can click save, and that'll send it directly to the database. So if you like a sound that you made, you can just type in the title right here, and then you can do a type, like if it's a bass note or kind of like a piano key or a lead synth or something, you can put that in there, and then it'll send it right to the Mongo database. So pretty much if you get on your computer and you make a sound from this synth, you can access it on our database, which is really nice because if you want to
make a couple different sounds and record it, you can do that with the different patches that you can save to our database.
All right, how we doing? So technology is used. Basically, the whole thing is done in React. As Alex was kind of describing, the true heart and soul of our app is the Web Audio API. Without that, you would not be getting sound out of the browser. So Web Audio API, the Web Midi API is how we're able to hook up basically any MIDI keyboard and have it work. As Alex also kind of described, on the back end we did MongoDB with Monk because we weren't really dealing with any intense relationships, so a non-relational database was the way to go. And then Electron is what it's wrapped in. That's how we have the desktop app. And this little one in the bottom right-hand corner is Tuna.js, which is a library for audio effects. So that's kind of how we have implemented all the delay and filters and things like that.
So this was a challenging project for us. For one part, there's not really a lot of resources on the Web Audio API. There are minimal tutorials, and the ones that do exist are very like, create an oscillator and hook it up to some, destination. And we were going for a lot more complicated structure to our synthesizer. So we developed a way of dispatching actions from our controller components with a single function that uses object keys to reference functions in the top level that can then send those actions out to the parts of the synthesizer that need them in the view layer of the synth, which made the development process much faster. And then once we got that connected, we ran into issues with web audio taking too much resources, so we had to pretty much reconfigure the whole way we were constructing the synth. This was definitely some of the most intense troubleshooting I've ever done so far, so we're glad to have some of those problems behind us, but we definitely still have a lot more work we want to do. I think Alex maybe wants to talk a little bit about,
or actually Ross, right down the list. Yeah, another huge challenge was using the Web Midi API. So tackling this beast was a true challenge. It was actually pretty straightforward to get MIDI signal coming through, and we were able to play on it, but it wasn't playing our actual patches. So getting it to link up, true challenge, but yeah, got it going.
Yeah, and then we wanted to use a non-relational database because before, we've been using Postgres, and that's just kind of unnecessary. And MongoDB kind of scraps all that stuff and lets you put in whatever you want in there. And because patches are always changing, we just wanted to simplify everything. So Ross and I spent a good 4 hours screwing up MongoDB and Monk and trying to figure all that stuff out. Luckily, with the help of instructors and some kids in G46, we got it to work, and now we're inserting stuff lightning fast and getting pretty much inserting whatever we want, which is super nice.
Oh, I guess I already did talk about performance, but yeah, so what happened, we finally got everything hooked up, and we could play about 20 notes before the whole thing would just die and crap out. And I spent like all day Saturday figuring out how to fix it, and yeah, it's still got a long way to go, but it's getting more and more stable every day, and we're definitely going to keep working on it. So
another challenge we ran into was using React within Electron. The way Electron defines its build directories are very similar to the way React defines its build directories, so you kind of have to remap how it works in order to actually build it out. There is a lot of boilerplates out there, which kind of made it a little bit easier, but we did Electron as an afterthought, so we kind of had to manipulate exactly what we had done with the web app to actually implement it into Electron. But overall, we're pretty stoked the way it worked out.
So yeah, back to me again. Cool. Yeah, in the future, we have a lot of like pipe dreams for this. We'd like to be able to pipe MIDI data into it so we can actually automate stuff. We'd like to continue its function as a desktop app and extend that into being able to incorporate it as a plugin into a digital audio workstation like Ableton, so that you can actually incorporate it into your audio projects. We also would like to make the patch library more robust so that you can search for other people's patches. If you're looking for a specific type of sound, like an acid bass sound or some sort of pluck, whatever, we'd like to be able to allow our community to easily reference those files and share sounds with each other. So anyone else have anything to add? All right. All right, well, thank you for listening, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it.